As you're reading The Awakening by KeepHerPart1, one of the elements and themes that we're going to be speaking about and discussing throughout is going to be the role of women within society, and that's going to be looking at the gender roles and codes that exist not only in New Orleans in the late 1800s with Edna Pontier, but also within the United States and world today. Um, Gender roles of the 1940s and 50s have been well documented. And with the feminist movement in the 1960s, a lot of folks start to look at women as being an equal playing field with men. But when you're looking at advertising and the portrayal of the female body throughout media, it becomes evident that this equal playing field has not yet been reached. So with this lecture, this two-part lecture, we'll be looking at the portrayal of women throughout the media in our current society. Advertising is certainly a very influential aspect to our culture, our socialization. You look at advertising in all of its forms, whether it be billboards, magazines, now online with YouTube advertising, certainly TV commercials, and it's a very strong element within our culture, and it's a very influential aspect to our culture, whether people realize that their viewpoints could be shaped by commercials and ads or if it's something that subliminally tends to happen. A study has found that women, regardless of what they were doing in any particular ad, were frequently shown in advertising as being young, beautiful, and seductive. And so women were being looked at with a very narrow focus, more as an object rather than as a person. While women are being shown in this certain mold, men tend to be taking on more of a power position, and hence women are being submissive and subordinate throughout a lot of these ads, whether it be a standstill photograph or a TV commercial with movement throughout. Advertising has the power to change a set of values held by the collective majority. It can influence people to switch their attitude regarding things which they might ordinarily think of as morally wrong to an attitude that is actually morally right or acceptable. And certainly a lot of these ads are going to highlight this. Research has suggested that advertisings fail to portray a representative range of a woman's real skills and occupations, particularly in positions of authority. More, and some of these ads here are dated, but more of the ads tend to be looking at how a woman might fit in a specific role. In this case, with these two ads, that of a housewife working with laundry and being more concerned with a menial task like this rather than advancing throughout the workplace. Also, ads fail to represent the real variety of women's ages, shapes, sizes, and colors. And so there tend to be a lot more ads focusing on the ideal female figure or the so-called ideal female figure, such as with this Nikon camera ad, as opposed to ads that tend to show a variety of sizes and the less glamorized, body shapes and whatnot of women. So more ads focus on a singular female shape, size. Also tend to be an age of young 20s, probably from the range about 18 to 23 as well. The sexist representation of women is problematic because it can generate adverse perceptions of women, especially to younger audiences. If the only ads, if the only images of the female form that people are seeing at a particularly young age is this glamorized viewpoint, then certainly the expectation becomes that all women, in order to be worthwhile, have to fit this certain shape, size, color, age, whatever you would like. And this can be very adverse and problematic for both a male and female growing up at this young age. Part of these behaviors and then the expectations that then are validated, here is the validation of masculine behaviors, language and values as though they represent the universal norm. So a commercial or an ad dated here from the 1950s certainly is idealizing that the female is meant to be submissive, the housewife dutiful for her husband. Here we have a much more modern ad where again the expectation or the idealized stereotypical form is the idea that the woman is being more problematic for the husband, causing more grief than happiness, always kind of nagging and things of these nature. And so if someone is hit with these ads over and over again, then certain gender roles and gender codes are then ingrained into the person's head. Reinforcing perceptions that may legitimize violence against women. You can see this in both a dated ad for for Chase and Sanborn coffee from the 1950s, where violence is being legitimized a little bit, and then also you can see this billboard advertisement. If it's about gaining weight, being kicked in the stomach, and loving it, again, the idea that that violence can be acceptable and okay, even to pregnant women. Might limit the range of behavior considered acceptable for women. And again, you can see here again ad from the late 70s, and then a more recent Juicy Couture ad. Behavior here that is being reinforced is that more of a sexual nature, or also just the idea that again women here are meant for show, not meant for intellectual pursuits, education, anything of that nature. Sexism in the portrayal of women in advertising has been studied in a variety of different cultures, including the United States, Australia, Britain, Italy, India, Japan, and Kenya, and a number of broad patterns in the portrayal of women can be discerned from this body of evidence. We have the sexism pattern, where women are more often portrayed as young and concerned with physical attractiveness than their male counterparts. So here in the ad for Guess, we have women where seem to be much more concerned about look. They're at the hairdressers with clothes and whatnot, whereas you do not see too many ads where men seem to be concerned about their physical appearance. So a pattern here that is being demonstrated is that woman's worth, again, is viewed toward her appearance. Another pattern is that women are less likely than men to be portrayed as authority figures and more likely to be shown as product users. So we have here a advertised for a kitchen mixer, washer and dryer, and then a garbage disposal. Where again, if you look at the ads themselves, all are portraying the female as the user, the male as someone who would not have any need to use the garbage disposal, the washing machines, or the kitchen mixer. Some of these ads are ranging from 40 years ago with the garbage disposal, to maybe 20 years ago with the mixer, to even much more recent ads such as the ones we have here with the washer and dryer. Another pattern that shows up is that there's a tendency for women to be shown as subordinate to men, as decorative objects, or as alluring sex objects. So here we have ads for body wash with this first one, magazine in this bottom one, and then even for Dodge here in this third one. And again, notice in all three, women there are portrayed as objects, not really being any type of portrayal as a person or identity outside that of a sex or alluring object. Ads also never let us forget that a woman's worth is determined by her appeal to men. And that is really shown here with this Palmolive soap ad, dated back here from the 1940s, where men ask, is she pretty, not is she clever? And certainly you can look at the idea of clever meaning intelligence, education, but there's the concern that men look at women solely for beauty, not for intellect, anything with their mind. She is an object to be judged, evaluated, and deemed desirable enough by the observer. Her only power lies in controlling and manipulating her appearance, and even that if she is set up to fall short of the perfect ideal. So while even in this ad here, where the woman might be in a little bit of a concern of power, it's through manipulation, not through merit or natural ability. Women are held to this standard and are bombarded with shaming messages that remind them that they will not succeed, be loved, secure, or happy unless they conform to this icon's identity, which is flawless appearance. The response evoked is guilt, fear, and shame. And you can even look at this Slim Fast ad with the wedding cake, where the bride, assuming that her weight is more than what it would be expected ideal, falls through the cake and needs help up from her groom. So even for the most important day of your life, as women may be trained to believe as their wedding day, you have to fit a specific form figure in order for it to be successful.